metal, the muscle, and the memories of an all-American road. Join Channel 7 for the Woodward Dream Cruise, presented by Ford.
Motor City Muscle is cruising down America's first highway. It is an automotive event like no other. So exciting. The engines are revving and the chrome is polished as some 40,000 of the coolest cars rumble down the avenue. We want to welcome you to the Woodward Dream Cruise presented by Ford. Thank you so much for joining us from around the country. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Dave Llewellyn. You know, Detroit put the world on wheels, and today we're sharing our classics, our hot rods, and our big block V8s with you. Our crews are up and down the strip. Glenda Lewis and Brian Abel have the best view of the avenue.
Dave and Carolyn, the roar of Woodward is on once again. In this beautiful warm sunshine, some of the coolest classics of new and old are out there on the Ave.
And on a beautiful day as well, there's a breeze. We're seeing tops down, in some cases, doors off. I'm seeing cars that I've never seen before cruising down Woodward here. Pretty incredible experience, but what's more incredible is being on Woodward cruising right now, and that's exactly what Dave Rexroth is doing. Dave?
Nothing like being on Woodward to cruise Woodward. We got a little muscle here, and we got an old Mercury back behind us. Oh, swing around and look at that. Yeah, all kinds of fun. Alicia and Keenan, over to you.
I tell you what, Dave, we are living our garage goals here on Mustang Alley. Check out this herd of iconic pony cars.
That's right. We're on Mustang Alley, so if you want style, we got it. You want power? It's Mustang Alley, so you know we have that in spades.
And do I understand correctly that you actually got it to drive some of Ford's all-electric future?
I certainly did, and here's the thing. It is wrapped in Ford's iconic past.
Nice.
It was a blast. All right, let's check in now with Kevin, who is surrounded by more classics.
Hey guys, I'm here in Birmingham, and there's a collection of different cars. I mean, all different kinds. We have the GTOs, we have Camaros, and the Mustangs, and the Corvettes. Over 120 Corvettes just beyond that way. A mix of Studebaker, Avanti, all sorts of cars. We can't wait to show you the classics and all the muscle. Carolyn, over to you.
I'm looking for a cherry red Corvette, Kevin. Hopefully you're going to show it to us.
It is a feast for the eyes today on Woodward, and for 27 years, the Woodward Dream Cruise has been a celebration of Detroit's rich automotive history.
Absolutely. Our love for cruising in cars made right here in the Motor City goes back even further.
Woodward was the avenue to cruise in the 50s and 60s. Iconic drive-ins lined the strip. It was also a legendary highway for automakers to unofficially test vehicles. In 1995, nostalgia sparked the idea to create new cruising memories. Nelson House created a small cruise night to raise money for local soccer fields. 250,000 people showed up, and the Woodward Dream Cruise was born. It's become a yearly tradition for WXYZ to broadcast along Woodward.
You know this is my favorite night of the year, and look at this fabulous 60 Thunderbird. I am in heaven.
And today, 40,000 cars cruise down a 16-mile loop, and 1 million spectators make it the world's largest one-day auto event.
So many memories, don't you love it?
And we're making more each and every year. From the Model T to the EV, you'll find everything on Woodward at this family-friendly event.
I spoke with Carl Widman of Ford about their support of the Woodward Dream Cruise, and I wanted to know which new vehicles are likely to become icons in the future. We caught up with him at the restaurant Cruise and Muir.
So it's our 5th consecutive year of sponsoring it. It's pretty huge for Ford. I mean, we had our first plant that Henry Ford set up was on Woodward. Woodward's a lot about car culture, and the Dream Cruise itself, I think Ford's been participating in since the initial one, and stuff like Mustang Alley has been around for 23 years. So, you know, Woodward is about car culture, and Ford is about car culture itself.
If you had to pick a classic of the future. Could you choose one out of these brand new ones that I'm looking at?
Well, definitely the GT500 is going to be a classic. It is today. It's one of a kind, 760 horsepower, just a beautifully aggressive front end, total eye turner today when you drive it off the showroom, and it will be always. And the Bronco Raptor, like you said, I mean, where else can you buy a full factory warranty off-road racer that looks like a Hot Wheel car? It's awesome.
But what's your favorite classic?
The one I actually purchased was a 65 turquoise, white interior convertible Mustang made in Wixom. I just loved it so much, I had to buy it. Big V8 motor, sounds great, and great for just cruising.
How big of a fingerprint do you have on vehicles sitting here behind me before it hits the road?
I think a lot of what I do as Ford Performance Chief Engineer is really help my team excel in what they're great at. They have the passion, a lot of them are off-road racers on the side. So my big fingerprint, I think, is just, you know, the blocking and tackling to make sure that they can be the best they can, that these vehicles push the boundaries of what's capable for engineering. And that's kind of what I look at when I drive them. I think of all the team members who put in the time on them.
You're a third generation Ford guy. Your dad worked for Ford, your grandfather worked for Ford, which is amazing. Tell me, why do you think so many people still flock to the Woodward Dream Cruise and love it?
Everybody has an emotional experience with a car that they love, and they pass that story along to the next generation. So there's that passion, not just for the car as a piece of metal, but the experience that they were with their father or their mother. I always think of it as a big reunion, and I think you're the hostess of it. So I will always think about my experience of watching Dawn coming up at Mustang Alley and waiting to hear you announce it as the opening of Woodward, and watching it when I get home. So appreciate your support all these years.
Well, thank you. Well, after 27 years, let's hope we have another great one.
Absolutely.
So I'll
Thank
give you
you.
a fist bump on that.
Yep.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Oh. Don't you love hearing the stories when dads and sons work on a car together, and then the dad passes that car down and it just stays in the family, legacies to come.
It is fantastic, and we're thrilled with the partnership, the continuing partnership with Ford Motor Company as well. It means so much.
We give them 2 thumbs up for real.
Yeah, to all of us and to this great day in the Motor City. Coming up, a rare look at dozens of unique automobiles carefully kept under wraps in Detroit. We go inside the bubbles to discover an orphan vehicle, a cool concept, and a car once owned by Lee Iacocca.
Ford's got a big unveiling, and look who they brought along to share with us, Jay Leno.
Be sure to check out his shoes.
And the cars. We're here for the cars.
I'm here for the shoes.
Can't wait to hear that. Plus, we're going to take a ride in this 1978 Ford F100. We're going to show you what's under the hood that makes this truck a one-of-a-kind.
For 27 years, it's been a tradition for classic car owners to drive up and down Woodward for the Dream Cruise. Every car that comes down the avenue has a story.
Has a story and connected to that music. Don't you love it? Glenda and Brian are in a great spot to find some pretty sweet rides and talk with their owners about so many memories. Glenda, Brian.
Yeah, Carol and Dave, and talk about memories. Look at these 2 cars here. Quite a lot of history and a storyline as well. So I'm going to start here, Glenda, with this. A 1947 MG, a classic British import. Widely credited as part of the reason for the big sports car boom here in the United States. Behind the wheel, Leonard and his brother Kevin. Guys, you were telling me that you got this just a couple of years ago. What was it that caught your eye?
Well, that was the color of the car. You know, it was a beautiful color. It was clean. It was looking good. So I figured we need to Dream Cruise this.
You need a Dream Cruise. So you were looking for a cruiser.
A cruiser, that's right.
And why an MG?
It was just, I don't know. You know, it just stuck in my head. And like I say, the car was beautiful. And I look good in it.
Absolutely you do. And when you know, you know when you see something you like. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. G, what you got over there?
Oh my gosh. Well, B, some cars you want forever and some cars you have forever. And this one you just got from your neighbor, Mark Alex Doyon. I'm so glad you came all the way down from Rochester Hills. Beautiful 1933 Willys?
Correct, yeah.
What's the best part about it?
Oh, being out here with all the other cars. We've only missed a couple cruises over the last 25 years or so. And, I bought this from a neighbor of mine just in the last couple weeks. I wanted to buy it for 20 years, and he decided to sell. So credits to Paul Doolin for being the caretaker for the last number of years.
Well, it's incredible to have this father and son time and to continue this tradition, and you got it. You scored it. Alicia and Keenan, over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. I tell you what, when we see these beautiful dream cars, you just want to drive them, but Keenan actually got to drive what is at the center of the official Dream Cruise logo.
Absolutely, it was so much fun. It's a 1978 Resto Mod that is truly one of a kind.
Behind me here we have the F100 Illuminator, which is a 1978 F100.
But this is no ordinary F100. What's under the hood is extraordinary.
This F100 has got the Illuminator crate motor in it, and it also has the drive motor, the rear drive motor out of a Mach-E Performance Edition. It really gets going, and it really surprises you in what it can do.
I took the F100 Electrified Custom out for a ride to see for myself.
This is a lot of fun to drive.
Yeah, it's certainly, it makes for a good experience, and it's not what you'd expect. It does a lot of things that you don't think an F100 can do. It has its own custom frame underneath the body, modern brakes, modern suspension on it, and then it's got the drivetrain and the battery out of a Mach-E Performance Edition. Really fast 0 to 60 times. It's got 240 miles of range, and you can do whatever you want with it. So it becomes a really good cruiser for something like Woodward or just cruising around town. This truck is perfect for it. We kept a lot of the old charm to it too. It's still got the crank windows. It's still got the A-pillar windows. It has all these different things that you see, that juxtaposition of the old and the new that allows to bring something older that you love, but to bring that new modern, no emissions technology into it is very cool.
While cruising in a cool resto mod like this, you are sure to get noticed.
Yeah, I'd love to see this out on the highway, on the open road, and just the looks that you'll get from this.
Yeah. The intent of the crate motor is that just anybody can purchase it out of our catalog and be able to go do their own build. So you're only limited by your imagination and maybe your fabrication skills.
Ford and its partners poured imagination into this F100 Illuminator. The build took just 73 days.
We want people to think about how serious Ford is about electrification and how much it means to us. A huge part of our future is electrification.
A Ford future that will continue to honor its past.
The whole intent of this project was to create what is a Woodward cruiser. That's awesome that it's featured on the logo for the Dream Cruise, and that was absolutely the intent of this truck.
So when you're talking about classics, of course, the engines are so important. But when you have the Illuminator, you can move away from a combustion engine and slide into that electric motor and right on into the future.
I am learning here at the Dream Cruise because this is an engine, but an electric vehicle, it is a motor. Don't get it wrong. Don't get confused.
Combustion engine, electric motor,
okay.
Absolutely.
And Keenan's a very good driver, Damon Carolyn. Very good driver.
Yes. We saw his driving skills,
Yeah.
and don't you love it, taking the classics into the future with EV motors? Kind of nice.
Honoring the history and looking to the future as well.
Yes, indeed. Coming up next, these rare vehicles are stored under special bubbles. We get a look at a Detroit collection that isn't often seen by the public. You know, the Motor City was the birthplace of so many vehicles.
Kevin Jeans joins us with more on a special collection of historical Detroit cars. Kevin.
Hey guys, check this out. I mean, it's also about the paint jobs, right? Like the flames on this Bel Air. This is eternal blue mica on this Riviera and this beautiful silver on GTO. There's just a lot of work that goes into caring for these cars. And there's actually a collection of cars that's owned by the city of Detroit. It showcases automotive innovation going back 125 years. We're about to give you a rare look inside this collection of cars cared for by the Detroit Historical Society. At first glance, it's hard to tell what's under all of these plastic bubbles quietly kept in a Southwest Detroit warehouse. Each one holds a unique story about Detroit's automotive history. Take a look at what's inside this giant bubble.
It's Lee Iacocca's personal Lincoln, a 1973 Lincoln Continental, and it's an enormous, enormous car.
It's, in fact, 18.5 feet long.
It's really neat to have this example that's not only tied to a instrumental figure in kind of the Detroit auto landscape, but also it's a great snapshot car, again, of just what was on the road at the time.
We went under the bubbles to get a closer look at a few unique cars.
It's a 1963 Mustang II concept car. Ford rolled out the original Mustang experimental sports car, which is on display at the Henry Ford Museum. They borrowed some elements from the concept car, borrowed some from the production car, and rolled this out and showed it around to kind of manage people's expectations of what they'd actually be able to buy when it came time to come buy a Mustang.
The Mustang concept sits next to this Orphan brand car.
That's a 1935 Stout Scarab, and Bill Stout was an aircraft engineer by trade, and he actually developed the Ford Trimotor airplane. Later in his life, started developing these experimental cars, and really took an aircraft designer's eye to the automobile. This car is designed really from the passenger perspective. And he said in his autobiography that when they were touring this car around, they drove from Detroit to LA with a glass of water on their dashboard and never spilled a drop because the suspension was so good. There was only 35 made in 1935. There's only a handful of them left.
And the Scarab's current neighbor?
That's a 38 Packard. This 1938 is really the peak of Packard styling. It gets all that great Art Deco influence that was so big in the 1930s, especially on the front end with the big headlights and kind of all the chrome on the grille. Then on the complete opposite end of that is kind of more everyday stuff. Like we have a 1984 Dodge Caravan, for example. We have a 89 Ford Taurus. They're all built in what we call the Detroit style of manufacturing. So they're mass-produced and mass-marketed cars that were available to a wide array of people.
The collection rotates through the Detroit Historical Museum. Cars range from the turn of the 20th century to 1992.
It's really broad and wide-ranging, but I think that's the strength of it.
And if you're curious about the bubbles themselves,
there's a little tiny computer fan on the back of them, basically that pull in air from the outside and circulate air around inside the bubble to keep it inflated. But also it keeps the dust off. It adds that extra layer of protection.
An extra layer of protection for Detroit's precious automotive history.
It's the signature industry for the 20th century. It's really instrumental to the Detroit story, and we're lucky to have such a great collection to be able to demonstrate that history.
And there's always a showstopper when you're out here at the Woodward Dream Cruise. People walking by, and everybody seems to be stopping at this one. This is a red 1960 Corvette, and I'm joined now by its owner, Jim Jenkins. And Jim, tell us about this ride and your story behind it and how you got it.
Well, this car was in a garage in several hundred pieces, and it took a pickup, or 3 pickups, and a trailer to get it home. And I finally got it finished in 1987. I bought it in 1983. It took me 4 years to get it painted and on the street.
That's good for 4 years,
yes,
to do that kind of big project that you took. Tell us about the engine. The engine's kind of unique, isn't it?
Yes. The engine's really a 327. Been bored out 60 thousandths, has Keith Black pistons, and it's a 4-bolt main engine, and it was built by Booth and Aaron's Racing, and it's a dual quad setup. It's probably running about 400 horsepower, 420 horse.
Well, it's a beautiful ride, and like I said, everybody's stopping here whenever they see this one. So we really appreciate your time coming out here in the heat and showing us your 60 Vet. It's beautiful.
Happy to.
All right, thanks. Hey, Carolyn, I know you love red Corvettes always. Back to you guys.
You know, I've been looking for a little red Corvette. That is my vehicle right there, and I love it with the little white stripe down the side. Sweet.
It qualifies, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And how about Detroit's history? Wasn't that amazing?
Yeah, it really was. Wouldn't it be great to be inside there and to see all those cars at one time?
Incredible.
Glad we could give you a sneak peek. Woodward Avenue, you know, is the home of so many firsts. Back in 1895, it was where the first ticket was written for street racing.
Yes, indeed. Dave Rexroth is not street racing today. We wouldn't let him, but he's certainly driving alongside some pretty cool looking rides that will surely make you do a double take. Right, Dave?
Carol and Dave, just when you think you've seen it all in Woodward, how about Santa and the Red Sleigh? Is that fun or what? What year is it? 53. Oh, and the elf can talk too. How you doing, Santa? Have fun. What a beauty that is. There you go. Ho, 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 he said. Having fun on Dream Cruise Saturday, Carol and Dave.
Dave, thank you. It is a great day on Woodward Avenue.
Even to see Santa Claus, right? Well, he is a famous comedian. He has a car collection one could only dream of, and he is on Woodward Avenue.
Brad Galley caught up with the one and only Jay Leno.
Jay Leno, talk about VIP here. When it comes to cars, you think of this man. Think of comedy too, but you love cars. You love the spectacles. You were at everything. What do you make of the Woodward
And it
Dream
rolls,
Cruise?
explodes, and makes noise. That's why. Well, you know what I like about this? I like the real blue-collar feel to it. Because, you know, in L.A., you got a few guys that have a lot of cars. When you come here, you meet a lot of men and women that have one car. And maybe it was their dads, or maybe their dad worked the line at GM or Ford. You know, they have a connection with the automobile. And that's what I really enjoy. I like the fact that people fix stuff in their own garages. You know, I mean, all the car culture is fascinating, but there's something about doing it yourself or meeting a man or woman that, you know, I meet a guy who painted his car with spray cans in his driveway and hand sanded it, and it looks pretty darn good, almost like a factory job. I got to give him more credit than the guy who went to a restorer, you know. It's like, for me, I can afford to have somebody else do stuff for me at this point, which is nice. But when I meet somebody who put all the blood, sweat, and tears into themselves, those are the ones I really feel for. Yeah, that makes it fun.
How special is it, though, that it's here in Detroit and you realize this is Woodward, this is where so many of those original cars were shipped up and down?
Well, you know, when you're an automotive historian, this is like Mecca, you know? I mean, go down to King's Bookstore. I love this city because it's not towering 80-foot skyscrapers on every block. I mean, you still have 5 or 6 story buildings, and you can see the skyline when you're in downtown. You're not in some cavern, you know. There's all kinds of little bookstores around here and little unique restaurants. You know, you go to LA or New York, everything is chrome and glass. It's just chrome glass, which is okay, but you lose that sort of down-home feel. That's what I like about it here.
You love the classics, but you're working with Ford to help take that next step in automotive history.
Yeah, you know, I think it's great. I mean, to me, the EV will be the savior of your classic cars. I mean, if you're driving cars from the 50s and 60s every day, there's no reason to do that and sit in traffic. And, you know, your electric car during the week when you're sitting in traffic, and then the weekends, you come to something like this or a car show, because there's something going on all the time. And I really think that the EV will be the savior in the same way the automobile was the savior of the American horse, you know? I mean, horses used to die in the street. New York used to have 60 tons of manure every day in 1900, 60 tons every day. Can you imagine? So when a car came along, a little puff of blue smoke in your face, oh my God, that was like the greatest thing ever, you know? So that's where we are now. You've got a lot of these cars, and the Earth is a closed environment. You've got to think of some way to get around it. So to me, EVs are fast and efficient, and they're actually faster than gas cars now, which is...
Unveiling a Lightning, riding along with Ford CEO. I didn't know we'd get this conversation to manure, but it's always a fun thing.
Yes, there you go. There you go. That's my life. Yeah. But yeah, with Jim, I love the fact that Ford has an electric division and an internal combustion, and there's no reason why you can't work alongside one another.
Thanks for unveiling this with us today. And,
oh, yeah.
I wore red clown shoes, and you didn't make fun of me, so I'll take that as a success.
Yeah, you know, I wish I had seen them earlier. Yeah, those are interesting. Now, what was the What those are? What size are those?
15.
Oh, 15.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know what they say. I'm not saying that, but you know what they say.
Ronald McDonald let me borrow him on the way.
Oh,
Jay
yeah.
Leno, everybody. Can't get better than this. Thanks
Thank
for the
you, my
time.
friend.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, he is a comedian.
He is.
But isn't it nice to know that he has been visiting so many places in this city, other cities, and he's really been all around Southeast Michigan.
And because of the Woodward Dream Cruise, over the years we've attracted so many people, stars like Jay Leno, and people from around the world who want to take part and experience this car culture on this special occasion.
Absolutely. You never know who you might run into along the avenue for sure. Coming up next, the 1960s Scotty trailer that pays tribute to an icon.
At the Dream Cruise, we see Chevy Camaros, Ford Mustangs, and Dodge Chargers. But alongside those muscle cars are quirky contraptions that also turn heads.
Yes, indeed. Our Alex Bahu steps inside a trailer that's pretty tough to describe, but you could say it is a part-time machine. Check it out.
The guys, they all have their cars.
But Elaine Vermeersch, she has a treasure.
This is a 1960 Scotty trailer.
And it's not just any 1960 Scotty trailer. Oh no, this one that Elaine snagged more than 15 years ago pays homage to an icon. Lucy, I'm home!
I loved it from the day I saw it. It was Lucy. She is the most funny comedian ever lived.
And that same joy that the television program brought to many faces through its 6 seasons on air comes alive when you catch a glimpse of the I Love Lucy trailer.
They just go like almost berserk. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They actually step inside and they're just like in amaze, you know, like, wow, I can't believe this.
A step inside is like a time machine to the era of I Love Lucy.
People keep giving me stuff. In fact, there's an original I Love Lucy Barbie doll inside.
But before you think the trailer is something to look at and just admire from afar, think again. Elaine says she's enjoyed using it to camp over the years. Then there was that one time Elaine and her best friend Victoria camped inside during a car show in Marshall.
We spent the night in it. We weren't supposed to, but we did. And we just were like 2 teenage kids, just having a riot. I mean, we never laughed so hard in our lives that we did that night.
The pair are like a real-life Lucy and Ethel.
We would go out and put the outfits on and pretend like we're Ethel and Lucy and have a lot of fun. You should try it with me.
Well, since I can't be tempted with a good time. As much as nostalgia makes people who stop by the I Love Lucy trailer smile, there's also a nostalgic factor for Elaine and her husband John when it comes to their long history with the Woodward Dream Cruise.
We've been going to the Dream Cruise ever since I think it began. We used to actually cruise Woodward in the day, the original Woodward Dream.
For them, it's not just about the classic rides, it's about community.
It's just a get-together. It is. And you get to see people you haven't seen in a long time, and that's what's fun about it.
And if there's one word to describe the Woodward Dream Cruise I Love Lucy and Elaine's trailer in a nutshell, it would certainly be fun.
Oh my goodness, what a look back. I still love Lucy, and then that just takes us back to the series with the chocolate. I mean, Alex went all in. Just fantastic, right?
And you're going to see a little bit of everything out here on Woodward during the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Yeah, I go like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And from vintage travel trailers to vintage horsepower, let's head to Mustang Alley with Alicia.
You know, I love Lucy too, and I also love Charlie's Angels. I'm getting all the Farrah Fawcett vibes from this King Cobra Mustang 2, 1978, by the way. 5-liter V8 engine under that hood. And the man who restored this car from a shell is Steve Caesar from Ithaca, Michigan. And what do you love most about this car?
I like the tangerine interior plaid.
That is something. You don't see that very often.
Nope, not very often.
How hard was it to restore this?
Yeah, a little difficult. I had to redo all the plastic, had to redo the seats and the door panels and re-dye a lot of the plastic and stuff into it.
And this is a rare Mustang.
Very rare. It's polar white tangerine interior. They made 131 of them.
Only 131. One of them's right here. And this isn't your only Mustang either.
No, we have 15 Mustangs at the house.
That's a hobby right there. Where do you put them?
A big pole barn.
Okay, that explains it. That explains it. What's great is you've actually met the designers of this car, and Keenan's met one right now.
Absolutely. I have the designer of this baby. This is Buck. Now tell me, there is a fantastic story about how you got to design this King Cobra.
Well, back in the day, they had a car kind of designed, and Iacocca didn't really like it. So he decided all the designers under 30 would have a contest and try to come up with something better than the older guys. And Iacocca picked my design.
And you have the hot hand because you've designed this baby that was featured in Charlie's Angels, but you've also designed two other cars that were also featured in TV shows.
Yeah, the Green Hornet car for that series, and that was the Imperial, and then we did the Monkey Mobile.
The Monkey Mobile. So you have
both built by Dean Jeffries.
You have the hot hand. Dean, thank you so much for joining us today. So many stories here at the Woodward Dream Cruise. So much going on. Love these beauties. Dave and Carolyn, we're going to go find more stories. We'll check back in with you guys in a bit.
Talk about unique. I mean, what? Charlie's Angels, the Monkeys, and Imperial?
Look at what we're seeing. Well, look at what we're learning today. This is just fantastic. And we've got a lot more to come from Dream Cruise 2022 up next.
Meet Little Kim, the drag race car that sparks so many dreams for father and son and a grandson.
Plus, just how fast this Bronco can go. You'll see it when you take it off-road. That's next. Woodward Avenue has long been a road to show off the horsepower under your hood.
We're talking about whether it's a factory performance or a self-built hot rod. Spectators will rate your ride as you rev your engine along Woodward.
And Brian and Glenda are with a car that I'd rate a 10. Guys?
Oh, Dave and Carolyn, this car was restored by a Detroit drag race legend. Harold Martin grew up at Detroit Dragway. He learned all the lessons from his Detroit drag racing father and created an empire.
There are some cars that just teleport you, right? Well, let's do that right now. I want to get teleported. So, I'm jumping in.
Harold Martin started watching his dad, Houston, win races at the Detroit Dragway when he was 5 years old. Harold Martin would become a motorsports legend himself.
Little Kim was a name that was after my sister. Little Kim was made up of many different cars over about a 20-year span. They started from a 58 Chevy Impala all the way to a Chevelle, then into Camaros. I think we had the most championship wins with the various Camaros that we would build ourselves. Being behind the wheel with my dad was just a great feeling because there was this bond, there was this hard work that we had done in preparation for this big moment.
Hard work and preparation is what drove him to create Martin Technologies, a global automotive business that includes specialty restorations.
Restoring classic cars is truly an opportunity. They have this dream. It's either reconnecting to what life was like for them some 20 or 30 years ago, or something that they just recently came up with.
This 32 Ford is a complete rebuild with modern upgrades like a custom Martin engine.
It has a very unique intake manifold that's called an individual runner, and it's hard to tune.
And this 67 ragtop Impala.
What was really interesting about this car is our customer wanted us to keep it as authentic as possible.
And then there's this 1972 Oldsmobile.
This car came to us from Alabama. out of the barn of Alabama. It has a total redo from the frame up to the body components to the engines and drivetrain.
Harold Martin has his eyes on the future, with his son Harold Michael now working at his side.
It is great that I now get to work along with him and helping to strategize where we're headed and making sure that we're the right fit for customers around the world.
They're planning a future with electrification and autonomous vehicles. Its technology already being used in company collaborations and in custom resto mods.
We see that this is something that the Dream Cruise will have more and more of as years to come. Many of the resto cars will become EV conversions. We have a whole list of customers that have reached out to us already saying they want an EV vehicle, and so we're doing that. My dad, I'm sure, would tell me today that he's quite proud and that we've created a legacy that will only continue.
What an incredible legacy. This is beautiful. How nice. I feel that. I love that father-son connection.
And just being on the inside, Glenda, my goodness,
So
this
cool.
thing seems pristine. There's not a bit of it that's off. Tell me about the story behind this one.
Yes, this is a classical 1955 Pontiac Chevy. We actually designed this in-house and have created some refurbishments to the vehicle. It has a 455 Pontiac Martin engine in it. The interior is all classical. We've done some minor suspension and tire upgrades to the vehicle, but most of what you see here is a classical car from 1955 in its original state.
And it is absolutely gorgeous, this Pontiac. I mean, you get teleported to those days of like being in the drive-through, like roller skates. That whole thing is what this is all about.
Yes, it really gives it that classical feel, and coming out here to the Woodward Cruise and seeing cars within this complexion and within this family, really makes it that much more special.
Yeah, yes it does, absolutely. Harold, thank you so much. We're gonna send it back to you, Dave, Carolyn.
All right, thank you, Brian and Glenda. What an incredible father and son story.
Yeah.
The love of the automobile creates historic legacies in Metro Detroit for years and years to come.
Let's check out another performance vehicle. Dave Rexroth is about to take us on an all-terrain adventure. Dave.
Saddle up for a ride in a Bronco Raptor. It can go high speed off-road. We put it to the test at a Michigan off-road vehicle park. The Bronco Raptor is a high output, high horsepower, and high performance vehicle that can go off-road racing and rock crawling.
I love that you can go fast, and I love that not only can you go fast, but you can get in and out of rocks really quickly. The track has been widened by 9.8 inches, which allows a better track stance, especially when you're off-roading. The suspension system is our Haas 3.0. It's got the Fox live valve suspension on it, which allows it for greater amount of wheel travel, which is something that you want when you're off-roading, and especially at high rates of speed. It allows you to cut through quickly when you're doing, let's say, whoops, and while at the same time, when you're doing rock crawling, it allows for that greater degree of ground clearance as well as suspension travel to get in and out of rocks quicker, which is something that Bronco Raptor just really excels at. It's a load of fun. It handles unbelievably well for a vehicle that's on 37-inch tires. You've got full bash plates from the front all the way through to the rear. It allows you to really beat it up.
In the middle of our off-road tour, we found quite a Bronco Easter egg just unveiled. We got to check out the 2023 Heritage Edition and Heritage Limited Edition Broncos. The Heritage Edition celebrates the original 1960s era Bronco with classic design elements like an Oxford white roof, grille, and wheels, and plaid interiors. Ford will build 1,966 of the Heritage Limited in honor of the year the Bronco debuted. Like all Broncos, they're ready to go on-road or off.
Every Bronco is built wild, 100% four-wheel drive, and you just get a chance to take them anywhere you want to go, and you'll show up and people will be like, wow, that's a pretty cool vehicle.
The Heritage Edition is such a cool nod to a lot of the old original Broncos, like this 1966 beauty here at Ford's Bronco Corral. This is Jeff Trapp. This is his beauty. Tell us why Bronco.
Well, Dave, life's short. Broncos are cool. Fell in love with these 40 years ago and haven't stopped since then.
It's fantastic. Have fun today, all right?
All right, thank you. You also.
Dave and Carolyn, more cars to come.
I'd say Broncos are cool, huh?
No doubt.
I'd give it a 10. All right, coming up next, it was once America's most expensive car.
We'll show you which ultra-luxury Lincoln was owned by Elvis, Frank Sinatra, and President Eisenhower.
Look at those beauties. 1 mile of pavement went down on the avenue in 1909, if you can believe that, making it the very first paved road in America.
All right, let's go back to Dave Rexroth, who is cruising along America's first highway in a classic. Dave?
Carolyn and Dave, we've been going up and down Woodward showing all the great cars, but we've got one too. This is Art Richardson's baby. Tell us a little bit about your Mustang.
It's a 1990 Fox Body Mustang. 7-Up edition, also 25th anniversary edition for Ford. Originally they were made for the 1990 NCAA championship and 7-Up to be given away at halftime. Program was canceled, so Ford made them the 25th anniversary edition. They made about 4,000 of them, and I bought it about 4 years ago, cleaned it up. Now it's my daily driver, fun car to drive.
It is fun. That's great. Art, thank you so much. Thank you. We're going to keep looking up and down Woodward, Carolyn and Dave, for more great cars.
Well, that's one for sure.
I'd say it's pretty clean, too.
Dave, thank you. Lincoln is celebrating a big milestone this year. Henry Ford bought the Lincoln brand 100 years ago.
Edsel Ford became its first president, who aimed to elevate the car's style and luxury.
A centennial celebration at Ford World Headquarters included Lincolns from all over the country.
Lincoln redefined American luxury and actually helped create the sense of American luxury. And we're celebrating 100 years of that, of Edsel's vision of building the best car in the world.
Speaking of luxury, the chairman of the Lincoln Motor Car Foundation brought his all-original Phaeton.
This is a 1931 Lincoln. The body style is called a sport phaeton, which means it's an open car, what we call an open car. It has no windows. In inclement weather, you install something called side curtains. This car particularly was sold new in Vermont in 1931, and it was a summer car. The car is original and unrestored, just as it left the factory with 90 years of wear and tear and what we would probably call patina. This car new cost about $4,500 when you could buy a Ford Model A for about $380.
The 1940s brought in a new era of Lincoln.
This is a 1940 Lincoln Continental, and the significance about the 1940 Lincoln Continental Coupe is they only made 54 of them, and this is number 42 of the 54. It's a pretty rare car, so this has Zephyr designation as well as Continental on it.
At the time, Edsel Ford was inspired by his European travels and wanted to design a Continental car.
So they worked on it in 1939, and then in 1940 they came out with this version of it, and then it was made until 1948. And that was the end of the Lincoln Continental, and they refer to this as the Mark I. I've always thought that this was one of the best looking cars that was ever made, and I always wanted one. I had the opportunity to buy one about 10 years ago, and here it is today.
Then there's this ultra luxury Lincoln.
It's a 1957 Continental Mark II. William Clay Ford, they put him in charge of a project to develop the world's finest automobile. The car cost $10,000 at the time. So it was the most expensive car in the United States, and the only car in the world that cost more was Rolls-Royce at $11,000. So it was about the cost of a house. So if you look at the list of new owners of Continental Mark IIs, it's Frank Sinatra, Elvis Presley, President Eisenhower. Originally, this was a company car. It was assigned to Eleanor Ford, Edsel's widow, and it was shipped to California, Southern California, and it was kept out there for her.
This Lincoln has several innovations, including a unique air conditioning and heating system.
It looks like an aircraft instrument panel on the dashboard. It's 5,100 pounds, so it's very, very heavy. They had a special frame for them because the designers wanted the car to be low. So it just cruises down the highway and it just floats.
Lincoln owners say their cars have one thing in common.
The construction is superb, the engineering is first class, and this is a true luxury car. It's a big car, that's what sets it apart. It's a Lincoln. And in those days when some of you said you had a Lincoln, it was, hey, he's arrived.
Man, they still look good, don't they?
Yeah, and we've arrived being able to see that.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Stay with us. Classics, customs, and convertibles rule the road.
We'll be back with more excitement and nostalgia from along Woodward Avenue.
Pontiac is the first stop on our tour of communities that stretch the Woodward Dream Cruise route. Right now in downtown Pontiac is a perfect place to show off your classic car.
A lot of fun through the years. Now, you know, this year as we stop along the 9 cities on the cruising route, we're going to share 7 can't-miss places to stop by and visit or things you need to know about each community. So, let's begin in Pontiac, where a revival is now taking root. Downtown Pontiac is booming with small businesses that are uplifting this community on the rise. The beautiful Strand Theater offers performances of Broadway musicals, movies, and so many community events. Try craft food and beer at places like Fillmore 13 Brewery, located on Saginaw Street in the heart of the city. Check out the Farmers Market at Hidden River Park on Sunday afternoons for fresh produce, live music, and all sorts of vendors. The Amazon Fulfillment Center at the site of the old Pontiac Silverdome brought jobs and a huge investment into the region. Family-friendly neighborhoods can be found all over the city and have enjoyed property values rise thanks to big businesses like United Wholesale Mortgage and Amazon. The M1 Concourse is a car lover's dream. It's an 87-acre playground for car enthusiasts. Complete with a private track, Pontiac is certainly a place where opportunity awaits and has the support of many community members to help it on its path to growth. This is a site you absolutely need to see. Nearly 1,000 Mustangs line 9 Mile in Ferndale.
Alicia and Keenan have been checking out the pony cars all day long. Guys?
Yeah, and we found sibling cars, 2 1966 Mustangs, and they are stunning.
Just gorgeous. I feel like my outfit's like inspired by these two. Tell us about this one, Keenan.
This is a Raven Black 1966 Mustang GT, absolutely gorgeous. And I'm here with Ron DeBono. And Ron, how long have you had this Mustang?
I've had it since 1980.
1980. Where were you in 1980?
I was in high school.
So you've had this Mustang since you were in high school?
That is right, yep. It's my first car I've ever owned.
Yeah, and you still have it?
I still have it.
That is amazing. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, what you've done to get it looking like this. Did it look like this in high school?
Oh, no, it was pretty rough. And so I've initially kind of just got it on the road when I first bought it, and it looked okay. But then about 15 years ago or so, I decided to kind of just take it down to the shell and just do a full restoration. And so so I've had it done for about 10 years now, and that's the result. So
it is breathtaking. I love the inside. You have the Raven Black outside, you have the black inside with the pony interior here, and then you have the back that folds down. You get that in the fastback. 1966, gorgeous, but if maybe black's not your color, Alicia's got a red one that is going to leave you speechless.
Not just red, Keenan. This is candy apple red, and I just want to take a bite out of this car. I absolutely adore it, but someone does love it even more than I do, and that's Kevin Laws from Dearborn, one of the volunteer staff members here. What time did you get here this morning?
About 5:30.
Wow, that is early, but you have been a diehard car enthusiast since you were in high school. Now, this was not your high school car.
No, unfortunately, the car I owned in high school got smashed.
So I was looking for one for a long time. It left a hole in my heart.
Well, I would imagine so. So is this basically the car that you used to drive?
Yes, a coupe, 289. This is it, pony interior.
I mean, the red and white interior with that pony detailing is to die for. It really is. And you helped restore it.
Yep, friend of mine restored it. I helped him with some welding, and I made him promise me if he ever got rid of it, that I would get first dibs, and I got it.
Hey, you know what? You put those sweat equity in, so he needed to give you first dibs.
Absolutely.
Kevin Laws, thank you so much, and thanks for all you and the staff do to make the Woodward Dream Cruise so special. We are making memories here on Mustang Alley, Brian and Glenda.
Wow, guys. So you just had a beautiful car. Look at this thing, a Cadillac. Absolutely gorgeous. Some kind of candy apple red on the interior, too. This is the second showing for this car, the third time for its owner, Bob, who joins me now. Tell us about this beauty, Bob.
It's a 1957 Cadillac Eldorado Baritz. They built 2,100 of these Eldorados, and this car has styling from Harley Earl and the GM Center, and it has cast aluminum turbine wheels. It's got Dagmars up front, and it's just been a wonderful car.
And it's been a wonderful car for you since before I was born. When did you get this thing?
I bought this car in 1975 for $1,500 in the Chicago Tribune.
And Bob here tells me that this is the second love of his life. So what's the first?
Renee, that's my wife.
Great answer.
Good answer, right?
Thanks, Bob. Glenda?
Well, some love over here because you're in good favor with Pop. We got a son-in-law and a brother-in-law, and those white walls. Mike Lee, fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to hang out with Bob and join in with this hobby and just enjoy the nice day today.
So are you his favorite? Or?
You know, I hope to be.
He lets you ride shotgun?
That's a good one. Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, but this love of cars runs through your family. I mean, this guy's great.
Yeah, it's good to have a father-in-law that likes the same stuff you do, for sure.
Yeah, all right. And you fellas, do you get to ride in the front ever?
I was riding in the front for a little bit and just enjoying all the scenery. Love I'm a car guy, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else today.
Right. Well, incredible. Passing on the tradition. You like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like cars?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The Barretts, everybody. Carol and Dave, we're going to set it to you. I'm getting in.
All right. Thank you so much, Glenda and Brian. Certainly a beauty. Now, you know there's a stretch of Woodward in Bloomfield Township where classics roll through at a leisurely pace.
Yep, here's what else you'll find when you take a drive through this Woodward corridor community.
"95% of the township is residential, and many of those homes have mature trees that offer privacy and a beautiful atmosphere. A hugely popular spot for families is the Bloomfield Township Public Library. In the summer, they offer extra reading programs for children and adults alike. Bloomfield Township is home to several golf courses and country clubs, including Oakland Hills, Waubig Country Club, and Forest Lake. The majestic Kirk in Hills is a Gothic-style church modeled after an abbey in Scotland. It sits on 20 acres next to Island Lake. The famed Detroit Skating Club has trained Olympic champions like Todd Eldridge, Merrill Davis, and Charlie White. Families enjoy other training facilities for soccer, hockey, tennis, dance, and jiu-jitsu. And after all that fun in Bloomfield Township, you can dine out in one of the dozens of restaurants on Telegraph and Square Lake Road.
A lot of good stuff. You know, the Dream Cruise rolls on, and coming up next,
a look at two very special Michigan vehicles that are about to become a part of U.S. history.
Woodward Woodward in Long Lake is a bustling spot in Bloomfield Hills to watch cruisers drive by. Look at that shot high above from Chopper 7.
The city is also a wonderful place to live.
People who live in Bloomfield Hills are drawn to the estate-sized homes that offer the privacy of being in the country with all of the amenities of living in the city. Its beauty seen in the well-maintained public spaces, like gardens in the center median of Woodward Avenue. Take a hike at Johnson Nature Center. Bloomfield Hills School District operates the 40-acre nature preserve that's open to the public. Or head to Bowers School Farm, also operated by Bloomfield Hills Schools, to see the farm animals, check out the farm store, or try a treat from the farm kitchen. Cranbrook Institute of Science and Art has a 319-acre campus. It features modern and contemporary art museums, the Science Institute, and the Cranbrook House and Gardens, as well as an educational campus for students preschool up to senior high. Bloomfield Hills is also home to several private clubs, including Bloomfield Open Hunt Club and Bloomfield Hills Country Club. Before you leave, enjoy one of several restaurants at Woodward Avenue and Long Lake.
You know, some people grow up with a love for cars and cruising. Our friend Ken Ligenfelter of the Ligenfelter Collection and Ligenfelter Performance Engineering is the ultimate car guy.
It is great to have you with us once again for the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Well, it's an honor to be here with you guys again. Thanks. Yep.
Love it, and I know you've been checking out all of the cars rolling up and down Woodward, and we asked you to pick some of your favorites that you spotted, and I think you spotted a 440 Barracuda.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, that's when I was a teenager at that time. I was driving a Camaro, but there were lots of times in my drag racing days that I faced 440 Barracudas, and this one is excellent, especially the color.
That lime green, right?
It is. They had a purple, they had a green one, they had some really interesting yellow cars, and you never could miss one, I'll tell you that for sure. So
you spotted another very popular car out on Woodward as well.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm a Corvette guy, and the 62 was one of the best ones. It was before they changed the body style. 63 split window really took care of me, but this one is just absolutely gorgeous.
And that's truly a cherry red. There's something different about that color, right?
Yeah, I think there is, and I have to tell you, Corvettes are great anyway, but in red, that makes it, really does.
I'm a Corvette gal too, I love them.
Yeah, and tell us about a collaboration that you're involved with right now that is really going to be something special.
Well, we're all looking forward to the electric days, and there's one way that we can probably keep these old muscle cars and everything else back on the road, and that's really swapping the gas motor out for an electric engine. So with the help of General Motors and us working together with them, we bought a 72 El Camino, swapped the engine out with a GM Performance crate engine and electric crate engine. And this is called Cruise and Connect. You put the motor in, it connects right to the transmission and all the other working parts of the El Camino, and now you've got an electric El Camino. So
I think that's a fabulous thing to do. We've been talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like it wouldn't be an easy thing to do. How challenging is it, though?
Well, it's very challenging. I mean, the engineers at General Motors really kind of came in and showed us what to do and how to get it done. This isn't an engine you're going to put in on your own in your garage. Yeah, they're actually pretty dangerous if you don't really know what you're doing. So the GM guys came in, trained us what to do, certified us as an installer, and here we go.
Here we go. Now, we know you're the ultimate car guy. I have no idea how many cars you have in your collection, but why do you love the Woodward Dream Cruise like so many others?
Yeah, I am a car guy. I've been a car guy all my life. There's just so much passion going on down here, and I love them all. That's the problem I've got. Some guys are just Mopar, some Ford, some Chevy. I like everything, and that's why we've got the collection. I've tried to satisfy my enthusiasm with that.
What's the number now?
There's about 180 cars there.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Pretty
fantastic. Once again, Ken, thank you. It's great to have you part of our Woodward Dream Cruise celebration for 2022.
Wonderful. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Yep.
All right, let's head out to Kevin Jeans, who's hanging out in the Birmingham Car Show.
Kevin, what's catching your eye there?
Hey guys, this one right here, without a question. I mean, everybody has stopped at this one, and this is a Packard that's, I think, a 1940, and I'm joined now by Neil Porter, the owner of this Packard. This is a special, special car. Can you tell us about it?
It's a low production car with a custom body by Darren, 1940.
And you are really, I think, the king of car collectors. How many cars do you have in your collection?
64, I think.
64?
I've been buying them since high school.
Well, I want to ask you about that. Now we're looking at the engine, too. Tell us a little about the motor that this Packard has.
It's a straight 8 flathead engine. They were a good motor. It's not real powerful, 120 horsepower, but it gets the job done.
This is good. What's it like driving a car that's over 80 years old? I mean, it's hard. I would think parking like the front end would scare me.
The front end isn't bad. The back end is what's so hard because you can't see out of it. It's very hard to see out of.
So you've got to be careful. How did you decide to bring this one? If you have a collection of 64, how did you decide to bring the Packard today?
Well, all the cars would like to come down here to Woodward Cruise, but they don't all make it because they don't behave themselves and they don't run right. So only the ones that behave themselves and run right get to come down here.
Do you have a favorite? Can you?
No, it's like kids. You can't have favorites. Absolutely not. It's cars would not like that if I did that.
There's got to be. I mean, do you know what the very first one in your collection was? Is there one that sticks out in your mind? Like, man, this one means a lot to me.
Oh yeah, there's a 1930 Packard Roadster. Is one of the first ones I bought. And I bought that in 1966.
Well, I know, Neil, you've been out here at every single Woodward Dream Cruise. Are you just as excited every single year to come out again?
Absolutely. We look forward to it all year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate your time showing us your Packard. You got an awesome. Someday we got to come to your garage. I think 64
Love
cars.
To have you.
It's incredible.
Love to have you. Thank
Neil,
you.
Thank you so much. Dave and Carolyn, back to you guys.
Aw, thank you, Kevin. You know, when you have classics, especially like in 1935, you probably have to talk to him. Like, come on, baby, start up. Let's do it. Let's do it.
A little temperamental.
A little temperamental.
The passion of so many people that we meet along Woodward Avenue with the collections.
I mean, 64 right there.
Yeah, or an individual car that you put your blood, sweat, and tears into to restore. It is just so cool to be here and part of this celebration
and to hear
of the
stories.
automobile.
Yes, indeed, and the legacies.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Michigan is home to so many famous cars. Some of them we've been showing you today.
And 2 of them are about to be inducted into the National Historic Vehicle Registry. This 1952 Hudson Hornet's current home is the National Hudson Motor Car Company in Ypsilanti. The fabulous Hudson Hornet was called fabulous for a reason.
Herb Thomas started racing these cars, and he was the most prolific Hudson driver. So he had 78 total podium finishes at the wheel of the Hudson Hornet. You wouldn't think that the younger generation would know too much about a Hudson Hornet, but they do because of Pixar's movie Cars and Doc Hudson, who kind of brought this whole bygone brand back out. And so there's a true understanding and a connection with this car or this brand.
And then there's this Chrysler on display at Stahl's Automotive Collection in Chesterfield.
The turbine car was so incredibly ahead of its time, right? So Chrysler actually started working on this technology back in the 30s. It's turbine, not turbine. We met with the designers and we were corrected on that. So that's an important piece.
Chrysler made 50 of these vehicles from 1963 to 66.
This was the first time that it was an alternative engine here that would run on a multitude of fuels. So you could put anything from diesel to kerosene. The 50 that were made, there are only 9 that remain, and maybe 5 of those that still run. It's an incredible example of a cultural movement within this country that we felt was really, really important, especially as we're on the cusp of EV, electric vehicles, driverless cars.
Now these cars and their innovations will be remembered for generations to come.
This truly is the Motor City, that the technologies and the thoughts that went into these vehicles were ahead of their time. They were so far ahead of their time.
Simply amazing, and so is this. Birmingham is a hot spot of the Woodward Dream Cruise. You are looking at Woodward just south of Maple.
Hey, that's our location as well. Take a look at 7 places to stop in Birmingham.
There's
There's so much to enjoy in the city of Birmingham. We'll start in the Birmingham Shopping District. Whether you want to shop or dine or take in a movie, the district has more than 300 businesses. If you're looking to find out more about the city's history, stop by the Birmingham Museum, where you can visit the oldest house in Oakland County. Step into the John West Hunter House, which celebrates its 200th anniversary this year. Enjoy family time in one of the city's 26 parks, including Booth Park, where children can explore so many play features. Or head to Lower Baldwin Park to enjoy the nature that surrounds Corton Lake, which is fed by the River Rouge. Put on a pair of ice skates to enjoy the newly renovated Birmingham Ice Arena. On Sundays during spring and summer, shop the local farmers market. And a great way to end any visit to Birmingham is a stop at Dairy Mat for their famous orange and vanilla twist ice cream cone.
Those twists are so great on a summer day like this.
I wish we had one
Right
in
now.
hand right now. Yes, indeed. Coming up next, we are revving up the horsepower in Mustang Alley with Alicia and Keenan. And then we're going to head back street side with our own Dave Rexroth. Stay with us.
Check out some of the hundreds of cars at the car show in Royal Oaks Memorial Park. Bleachers line the edge of the park for crowds to watch Woodward. It's just one of the city's great green spaces.
Centennial Commons is Royal Oaks' newest outdoor space. The 2-acre park has activities like a water play area, a climbing hill, and an entertainment stage. On Saturdays, it's a short walk to the Royal Oak Farmers Market. You'll find seasonal fruits, veggies, flowers, and artisan items. Main Street is a destination for unique shops and fantastic restaurants. Royal Oak is home to great entertainment venues like Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle and the Royal Oak Music Theater. One of the city's most popular parks is Star JC. On the first weekend of the warmer months, Great Lakes Live Steams host miniature train rides. Or take a hike on the 10 Half Woods Nature Trail. It's a 3/4-mile shady walk. Sprinkle Kindness is the new slogan from Ray's Ice Cream. The community rallied to save the family-owned shop during the pandemic. It's been serving homemade ice cream since 1958.
So many great communities to celebrate during the Woodward Dream Cruise. You know, Dave Rexroth has a great view of the avenue right now.
He's been parading up and down Woodward all day. Let's see who he's cruising with now. Dave.
How about this beauty? It's a dark GT. Skip and Tim, right? Yeah. How long you guys had this?
I've had it 17 years.
17 years. You having fun?
Always. Coming every year except for COVID.
Every year except COVID. We appreciate it. Thanks for swinging by. Have fun. Another great Ford pickup back here behind it, too. All kinds of great cars. Dave and Carolyn up and down on Woodward.
Love a green pickup, right?
Yeah, Dave Rexroth making all kinds of new friends today. You know, Mustang Alley is where the classic and new pony cars mingle.
Keenan and Alicia, what vehicle are you with now? You've been showing us so many.
I tell you what, here at the entrance to Mustang Alley, Ford wants you to know that they're really broadening the Mustang family. I mean, you got your traditional gas-powered, fire-breathing dragons, if you will, and then you've got the adrenaline-pumping, all-electric Mach-E. It's exciting.
That's right. In fact, we're going to call these future classics. I'm here with Ford Mustang brand manager Jim Owens. And Jim, this is an absolutely stunning ride behind you. What are we looking at?
It is the 2022 Shelby GT500 Heritage Edition, and it's in that Brittany blue color that we launched back in the 60s, the GT500 with.
So that's part of the heritage, right?
Prior to the heritage, you mentioned future classics, and that's the way you do it. You tie it to the heritage and then bring it out in today's fashion.
What are some of the other elements here that really stand out?
This is a 760 horsepower supercharged Mustang that is capable of doing 0 to 100 to 0 on the deck of an aircraft carrier.
Oh my goodness. And who did that? Who did the practicing for that one?
I volunteered to do it, but you need to have professionals to actually have that done.
Absolutely, absolutely stunning. So if you like the combustion engine, they've got something for you. But as we talk about broadening the family, let's take a couple of steps over here. This is the Mustang Mach-E GT. What are we looking at here?
This is the Mustang Mach-E GT Performance Package. So it is the heart and soul of a Mustang. So it has over 480 horsepower.
Wow.
It is faster 0 to 60 than the Shelby GT 500. It has Brembo brakes, Magna-Ride suspension. So it's a way to broaden the reach of the Mustang for those who might need a little bit more doors or want to be in the electric, but still has those classic things that Mustang needs.
Right, and you know something? There's so many people who want a Mustang, but look, you have a family. Now you have 4 doors, right?
You have 4 doors. Like, I couldn't take my kids when I had, 3 kids and my wife up in the front seat of the car. You can now do that in a Mustang when your life stage changes.
And you can do it in style. Jim Owens, Mustang brand manager, thank you so much. Dave and Carolyn, back to you.
All right, thank you, Keenan. I like the way the Mustang Mach-E rolls off the tongue.
I think there needs to be one in my future.
Mine too, I like it.
All right, Berkeley is a great spot to watch the cruise. Vincetta Garage is always jammed with people looking for a great meal right on the avenue. And the coolest cars are parked out front. It's one of the many places to stop when you're visiting Berkeley.
The city of Berkeley has 2 shopping and dining districts with more than a dozen new businesses. The first district is along 12 Mile, which is lined with boutiques, artisan shopping, diners, and specialty stores. Head down Coolidge, where you'll find the second unique shopping and dining district. Next to this business district is the new Berkeley Plaza. It's a public space on Coolidge near Berkeley High School. As you drive or stroll to your next destination, you'll find public art along the way. Hunt for more than a dozen murals around town. Art is the heart of this community. On a summer weekend, you'll likely see a festival downtown where there's something for everyone. The night before Dream Cruise is Berkeley's Cruise Fest, where you can watch a parade of classics roll down 12 Mile. And of course, Berkeley has beautiful parks like JC Park. This park, while already amazing, is about to become more inclusive with a new playscape and pathways that people of all abilities can enjoy.
So beautiful, adds to the community, right? All right, coming up next, we're going to take a look at a classic car that's the only one of its kind in the United States.
There's an incredible story behind this 1929 Invicta.
So many sweet cars to look at the Woodward Dream Cruise, and just a half-mile drive of the cruise goes right through Huntington Woods.
But it's also a wonderful place for a walk through the zoo, a game of golf, and so much more. Here are 7 great stops in Huntington Woods.
More than 230 species of animals call the Detroit Zoo home, from amphibians, reptiles, and birds to the popular penguins and polar bears. Right next to the zoo is Rackham Golf Course, a public course managed by the city of Detroit. It was designed by the legendary Donald Ross. Huntington Woods residents will find so much to do at the Recreation Center. The Rec Center, home to a zero-entry pool with kid-friendly water features, 2 slides, and a swimming pool with a diving area. Huntington Woods boasts 12 parks, including Burton Community Park. Roller skates, rollerblades, and skateboards are welcome at the Val Jones Skate Park. Finally, make a stop at the new Monarch Cafe, where you can enjoy coffee, pastries, or gelato. The cafe is proud of its homemade food and allergy-friendly products.
Wow, the Woodward Dream Cruise brings out so many members of our community to watch and love the cars. You know, this event absolutely brings car lovers together. They swap cool stories and talk about their vehicles, and then they reminisce a little bit, right?
Indeed, and I bet Brian and Glenda have a sweet ride for us to check out now. We'll send it to you guys.
Dave, Carolyn, we have seen so many incredible cars today. Glenda is enjoying one right now. We're going to tell you more about that in just a minute. But first, a car with a history that goes back nearly a century.
The make of the car is an Invicta. It was made in England from about 1925 to 1934.
This is believed to be the only 1929 Invicta in the United States. Ted's dad, Ben, was a stylist working for Chrysler in England in 1970 when he bought it.
I just remember going through country lanes, then doing picnics, a lot of picnics, sitting in a country lane because the car broke down, going to car shows.
The family enjoyed the car for several years until they returned to the U.S.
The car was shipped, and unfortunately, on the way back, the fenders were all dinged up, and some of the parts were found missing.
His dad tried to restore the Invicta, but hit a roadblock.
The company that we hired to do it ended up, after taking all of the money for the restoration, going bankrupt. We did get the car back, but it was in pieces, like a big jigsaw puzzle.
Meanwhile, Ted's dad's styling career continued.
He could do things. He could see things that other people didn't, and he'd go out and do it.
Ben Delfia left his mark on several cars, including the Plymouth Barracuda.
He did the styling of the interior for Plymouth, as well as the instrument console area and the gear shift. He was a big part of the interior for the new minivan when it came out in '83-4.
In 2001, Ben decided to once again restore his beloved Invicta.
After about 2 years, it looked like a car again. For my dad, he got to see the car the way he saw it in his head. He was a stylist, so he always had a vision of what a car should look like. This car had never been to that point. So he was very involved in the restoration, the colors, the seats, how everything should be, both original but better than original. He did all of that, got the car back, and immediately put it into a concourse. And it did very well.
Today, Ben is no longer able to drive the car. Ted now owns the vehicle. That means so much to the both of them.
For me, it's not just a connection back to my past, but also a connection to my family, especially with my memories of my dad, as he was.
Incredible story, incredible vehicle partner, but we're on fire in here. I'm with Scott and Tammy Checkmack, and talk about history. Your father worked for Pontiac. This is 47 years of love right here.
Well, I've had it 47 years. It's 53 years old. Bought it in high school with my high school money. My dad collected the little Pontiac cars, and when I was a youngster, I would play with them. And this was my favorite, and I got up to be 16 and said, we got to find one. And my dad put the feeler out to the dealer network, and they got me one out of Atlanta. So it's an Atlanta car. And I didn't know I was going to keep it the rest of my life, but you just say, why not?
It's absolutely amazing. My grandfather had a Firebird. I mean, it just takes you back. That's what this night and day is all about, right, Tammy?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
It's we've been coming for years, so it's really great to be able to be part of this.
Well, Dave, Carolyn, I don't know if I'm going to get out of this seat. if Scott lets me stay,
That's all right, Glenda. We'll let you figure it out, because you're looking awfully good in that champagne car right there.
Yeah, one more great car here on Woodward. And you know, music and cars just go together.
Haven't you been hearing all of the music in our show? It kind of makes you want to dance a little bit. You know, there's a new app called Fan Label. It puts you in the driver's seat of deciding which song is going to be the next big hit.
Can you pick which cruising song is most popular this week? Is it Prince's Little Red Corvette or Charlie XCX's hit Vroom Vroom or Luke Bryan's My Old Bronco. Pick correctly in the Stream Cruise tournament on the Fan Label app and you can win prizes. Founder and CEO of Fan Label, Jeff Sloan, says it's fantasy sports for music lovers.
Music is it's one of those identifiers. I think it's part of who you are. People are really drawn emotionally to music, to the songs they love, to the artists they love, and then you give them the opportunity to be an owner of their own record label and make their own selections, not just create a playlist, and proving to the world that you know music better than anybody else. You know a hit song when you hear it. People love that. It's very social in nature and they love to be out in front and be tastemakers and influencers.
Fan Label has much more than tournaments. There are pick'em style challenges.
These put a lot of songs head to head. Is it like Drake or Kanye, for example? We put them together and we say which one of these tracks had streamed the most this last week. And we use the actual music data, actual commercial success from Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, all of these things combined so that users can make these predictions on what songs they think are hits, what artists they think are doing better than other artists, and actively predicting how they can grow their label.
And then there's song signing.
That's building a catalog of songs that you pick specifically for your label that you think are going to have the most commercial success over time. The most exciting songs that might be on the fringe of, what people are listening to these days, but it's going to have a lot of viral potential. Or songs that are commercial hits that are going to grow over time.
Producer-engineer Mark Pastoria says Fan Label is great insight for record labels and radio stations.
When you're producing music, it helps you understand maybe what the fans want as opposed to what we like. Music is so subjective. It's a great barometer to see what's working.
So your fantasy record label on Fan Label could help drive the next smash hit.
With Fan Label, that's most important to us, is connecting the fan back to the music. And it's all about how they're driving the industry forward and having real-world effects on the music industry. And we think we're going to be able to get there.
Don't you love that idea? The Stream Cruise Tournament goes through August 22nd. And David Lou, I have to say, I think my favorite cruising song is Little Red Corvette.
She's been singing it all week long, too. So we know, Carolyn, we know. I'd have to go with Slow Ride by Foghat. Back to my high school days. I mean, it was Foghat was.
I was waiting for you to sing
was
it.
Big.
A little bit. No?
No. We'll spare everyone that. Fan Label, though, we want to keep pumping that and tell you that it is in the iOS App Store and also your Google Play Store. So check it out.
On Dream Cruise Day, Pleasant Ridge is home to the Bronco Corral, where you will see all generations of Broncos from 1966 to today.
Pleasant Ridge is also a wonderful city to call home. Take a drive down the tree-lined streets of Pleasant Ridge and you'll see beautiful homes in all styles of architecture. In fact, 97 homes are more than 100 years old. This fall, 27 additional homes will join the list of centennial homes in the neighborhood. If you head down Ridge Road on the west side, you'll be strolling down a stretch of the Saginaw Trail, which began as a Native American trail that connected Detroit to Saginaw in the 19th century. Today on Ridge Road, you'll find so many activities at the Pleasant Ridge Community Center and families splashing at the community pool. Throughout the half-square mile of Pleasant Ridge, you'll find 5 parks, including Gainsboro Park, where kids will enjoy the playground. 4-legged friends will enjoy the dog park, and those with a green thumb can plant in the community garden. After playing in the park, cool off with a cone from the yogurt station. Or have a bite at the Whistle Stop Diner, famous for its brunches. And if you want to find out more about the rich history in Pleasant Ridge, its historical museum is open the 3rd Saturday of the month or by appointment.
You can learn so many cool things about all of these communities. And what a day to go for a cruise. Keep riding shotgun with us.
We'll be right back. Ferndale is home to thousands of Mustangs during the Woodward Dream Cruise. We love hearing the roar of those ponies.
Yes, we do indeed. The community bustles with families and young people who enjoy everything the city has to offer. Here are 7 stops inside this great city. Starting our trip at 9 Mile in Woodward, you will certainly pass the Crow's Nest. The sculpture honors police officers who directed traffic on Woodward until 1928. Walk into the Rust Belt Market and you will find more than 40 independent Michigan makers, a full bar, an event space, and probably a unique gift for yourself or a friend. Stop for a bite to eat at Detroit Fleet, touted as Metro Detroit's only food truck park and boozery. Ferndale can also brag about its great outdoor spaces. Kids love Safety Town at Garbutt Park, where they can explore a tiny Ferndale by bike and by foot. Or carve and grind at the incredible skate park at Greery Park. Fun fact, the park was once visited by skateboard legend Tony Hawk, whose foundation helped with the funding. Have a laugh at Go Comedy, a home for hilarious sketch and improv shows. And coming up in September is the DIY Street Fair, a free, family-friendly festival with music bands, food, art, and so much more.
And let's motor back to fashionable Ferndale right now.
The place where the Woodward Dream Cruise started. Alicia, Keenan, what you got for us?
We have so much to tell here about the stories along Mustang Alley, and that's really what's in the spotlight. Yes, the cars, the eye-popping colors, it's jaw-dropping, but it's really all about the people.
And here are the people in the pony cars for sure. That's what Michael Larry says. He is the board president of the Woodward Dream Cruise, and you've been a part of this for how long now?
16 years now.
It's a passion of yours.
Actually, it's grown into a passion. I really get excited about Mustang Alley. I mean, it is not just the largest car show during the Woodward Dream Cruise, but it is all about the pony, and I love the Mustang.
You do indeed. And do you have to pinch yourself sometimes to think about how this whole event up and down Woodward has grown since it started off as a small fundraiser in 1995?
It's phenomenal. And it's always the spectators, the car enthusiasts that keep this thing going. They're the engine that makes it go.
And what is your outlook for the future for the Woodward Dream Cruise?
I think that the car enthusiasts and the spectators, the fans of the Woodward Dream Cruise are the ones who are going to keep it alive. It is up to them to help us make it happen.
I have a feeling it's going to happen.
Yes, I do.
So many people have a favorite car. What's your favorite car?
The one right behind you.
Oh, why this one?
2015 Ford Mustang. I love it. It's a pony, just like all these other ponies.
They pop the hood so you can see all the goods underneath.
Yes, it's a beautiful color. It's just a beautiful color.
And I bet it's fast, too. That's a 50th anniversary edition, I believe.
Yeah, it is. Isn't it something, 50 years?
I know. It's incredible, the history, and of course, the people. Thank you so much, Michael. Larry, the board president for the Woodward Dream Cruise. Dave and Carolyn, back to you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Who doesn't love a Mustang? And I'm telling you, if you've never walked through Mustang Alley, you have to give yourself a gift, because I did so last year. Oh my God, so many wonderful, amazing vehicles to see.
All about the ponies,
Light
and
up,
there
yes.
are so many of them. This weekend's Dream Cruise has so many people excited. For many car enthusiasts, this is a special time to relive memories.
Absolutely. Let's head out to Kevin Jeans, who's hanging out with classic car owners in Birmingham. Hi, Kevin.
Hey guys, I'm so glad you brought that up too, Dave, because you're absolutely right. It's all about memories. And right now I'm joined by Ernie, the owner of the Z28. And Ernie, you just told me that you always see people coming by and then you go, you had that car in high school, didn't you?
Yep, I see that a lot. And people ask me sometimes, it's a 78, but some people, they'll say, this is 71, right? And I go, no, it's 78. And so they know it's a Camaro and they know it's close, but they love it.
Well, you're the owner of this car.
Correct.
It's a 78. So tell us about the history, how you got the car.
Well, my dad got me a good job out of high school, and I was able to buy it when I was 19. I got it from Arola Chevrolet on Gratiot, and it's been a love affair the whole time. I loved it. I never I would never drive it in the snow. I bought beater cars, and
Well, I tell you, the paint job looks fantastic, and this is an older paint job too. But black's a tough color. But how have you kept it this way? And how long is, or I should say, how old is the paint job?
The paint job was done in '93, so it's pretty old. But not driving it every day and not driving it in the winter is a big thing. And keep it covered, and I baby it.
I love the flare too. If you saw the cup holders in there too, just looks fantastic. So, hey, Aaron, I really appreciate the time.
No problem.
And you got a beautiful ride here. Take care of it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, Dave and Carolyn, back to you guys.
So many people have kept their vehicles since high school.
Yeah, and it is up and down Woodward Avenue. It's exactly what we see and what we experience.
Hey, we've got a lot more ahead on the Woodward Dream Cruise.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We have had an absolute blast again, taking you up and down America's first highway. We just love our hot rods and muscle in the Motor City.
We certainly do. Wish we could take one of each home with us. Let's take one last cruise down the strip. Glenda, Brian.
The Dream Cruise is about more than cars. Yes. It's about family as well.
Yeah, can I be part of this family?
Sure.
You having fun? Yeah. Best part.
I love my Hot Wheels at home because the cars make me think of the Hot Wheels.
Thank you. Kevin?
All right, another Woodward Dream Cruise in Birmingham in the books. We've gotten to see everything. We've gotten to see the muscle and the classics, or Studebaker here in Avanti. Tons of great cars, and this is what it's all about. It's about the history of the cars, the Motor City legacy, and hearing the history of families and the owners of these cars too. Dave, over to you.
Well, we've been having so much fun. I just thought we'd leave you with the fantastic 55 Chevy. Is that gorgeous or what? The grill. Looks almost like we got sand inside too. Anyway, having all kinds of fun. Keenan and Alicia, over to you.
A sea of Mustangs here, so many. I wish I could take all of them home. I just love them.
I do too. And a sea of people here as well. Do you see how big it is here? With all these pony cars. We are making memories, Dave and Carolyn.
Oh, thank you so much, Keenan and Alicia. It's certainly been fun. This has been a great ride for us. A special thank you to our crew for everything they do behind the scenes, the things you don't see, and of course to Ford Motor Company.
Our partner, our longtime partner. If you didn't make it down yourself to Woodward this year, make a plan to do that next summer, because it's going to be another great Woodward Dream Cruise.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking a cruise with us.
Enjoy your rest of your day as we continue to celebrate these American classics. Goodbye.